Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's section of the morning code. And if this is your first section, I need you to understand that, we've had your first section. This is actually like Module 2. And the good thing is that the recording of Module 1 is available. If you are in the growth cycle group, you should have already seen the recording link. If you are not, you can join the growth cycle. I'll share the link somewhere in these conversations, or you can send me a direct message and I'll share the link for the growth cycle. Because this is a school, Module 1 is important as well as Module 2. So if you take Module 2 and you missed Module 1, you would have missed something. We started Module 1, we started talking about mindset. So today we are going to take the conversation further. Our speaker is ready. I spoke to him this morning. So it's my pleasure to welcome everyone joining me. I can see Barnabas, I can see Casey. Thank you for joining me. I can see Malga, Mr. Tunde, Oliver, thank you. Tracy, oh, thank you. You could still join us. Thank you very much. Of course, Victor Komalafe is here. And of course, Chizaba is also with us in the house. Thank you all for joining. And I'm going to do something that gets us started before I bring in our speaker. Now, if you were with us in Module 1, or if you're in the growth cycle group, you will remember that we had a reading assignment. Trust me, like I said, this is a school. So there's a reading assignment. We had a reading assignment at the end of Module 1. And that was the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Such an easy and sweet book to read. Easy because it's only 162 pages, and sweet because it's all short stories, but with massive lessons about money. So what I'm going to do in the next 15 minutes, thereabout, before I bring in Ebuka to take today's lecture. I like to use the word class. I like to use the word lecture because this is a school. I'm going to do a book review of The Richest Man in Babylon. What is the book all about? And if you started, like some people will tell, no, I've read chapter 1, but I've not finished chapter 3. If you started, you've not finished, or you've not read it at all, please read it. It's available in PDF. If you buzz me, I can share the PDF with you so that you can go through the book. Ancient Wisdom for Today's Money. That's what I call that book. And the book is titled The Richest Man in Babylon. So we are going to do a book review. Start with a book review of The Richest Man in Babylon. And for those of us who have read the book before or while we read it in January, if there are lessons you learned from the book, you can drop it in the comment section. Yes, drop it as a note. Something unique you learned from the book. Just drop it there so that other people can learn. And I want to ask at this point, if you can see my screen, I want to be very sure you can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, please let me know in the comments. And if you can see my screen properly, I want to be sure that you can see the book review because it's going to be slide after slide. So please let me know if you can see my screen and you can see it properly. Just say something in the chat. Let me be sure you can hear me and then you can see my screen. So I need to hear from somebody before I dive into the book. The book is titled The Richest Man in Babylon. I like the title. Okay, thank you very much, David. Oh, thank you for the feedback, David. You can see me and you can hear me. Oriva, thank you. Yes, so I think that gives me the impetus to go ahead. So now this book, we are viewing it from the theme of the 3 key pillars of the money code framework: making, managing, and multiplying money. The Richest Man in Babylon. The book was written in 1926. Imagine, 1926. That's about 100 years ago. And we are still studying the book. Now, it's focused on financial parables set in ancient Babylon. But like I said, there are timeless truths about money that are relevant to today. Ancient truth relevant to modern money. And what is the core message of this book? Wealth is built through discipline, not luck. Wealth is built through discipline, not luck. How much money you make has a lot to do with discipline and not luck. In Nigeria, we use the word destiny helper. Fantastic concept, but wealth is built not through destiny helper, but through discipline. That's the core message of the book. Now, this you are going to see again and again. Income alone does not create wealth. There are people who have earned $1,000, $1,000,000, like people who have won the jackpot. That is income. There are people who earn a salary of ₦1,000,000 every month, some 2 million, some 5 million. But income alone does not create wealth. Income alone does not create wealth. So what else? We always want to earn. Of course, that's making money. That's step number one in the money code framework that we'll talk about, the 3 pillars: making, managing, and multiplying. So income alone does not create wealth. What else do we need to create wealth? Wealth grows when discipline and wisdom are applied consistently. Where does wisdom come? Wisdom comes, the foundation of wisdom is knowledge. You cannot be wise without knowledge. So why are we doing a school learning about money? How do you say you want to make money when you don't know about money? And I asked somebody some time ago, how many books on money have you read this year? None. Last year, none. And sorry, I must make a confession here. For 2026, the most books I've read, the most videos I've listened to, have focused on area of money, because I believe that the more you know about money, the wiser you are, the better you are consistently. When you apply the wisdom, you will definitely earn more money. And what other thought? Financial success is structured and intentional. We said money is not about luck. It is structured. It is intentional. Now, this is chapter 1 of the book, the first major conversation. Seven cures for a lean purse. Let me call it 7 cures for an empty bank account. I think that is the same thing. Then they called it a lean purse because they carry their money physically, but now we put our money in the bank. So 7 cures. Number 1, pay yourself first. At least save 10% of what you earn. Don't pay NEPA bill, don't pay school fees. Pay yourself. Retain something from what you earn. Whether you earn 100,000, retain something from it. Because the truth is, if you earn 90, you will survive. So if you earn 100, retain something. I know there are things to pay, you need to flex, but retain, save something, pay yourself first. Number 2, control expenditure. You must not buy everything that crosses your front. Number 3, make money multiply. That means invest wisely, because you cannot earn enough to be wealthy. You must get to a point where you stop working for money and making your money work for you. Of course, that's investment. Guard against loss, avoid speculation. I'll break this down for a Nigerian context. Don't do MMM. Don't do scam. Don't do this get rich quick scheme. And like I said in the introduction to the money code framework, the last class, this is not a get rich quick scheme. We are not selling crypto. We are not selling one thing you put into it tomorrow. Even if we encourage crypto, investing in crypto, it's all long term. And investing in stocks, investing in real estate, you are going to hear all of those things in this conversation, but it's not get rich quick scheme. Speculation. Oh, if I put 10 naira, it becomes 20. That is not the idea here. Own productive assets. Of course, your car is an asset, your house is an asset, but are they productive? Own productive assets. If you have actually consumes your money, it's not an asset, it's actually liability. But if you have a car that produces money, whether because it takes you to work or makes you effective in your business, that's an asset. You must differentiate between what is an asset and what is a liability. What puts money in your pocket is asset. What takes money away without bringing anything back is liability. Differentiate. Secure your income. Retirement planning. Some of us are too young to be thinking retirement, but hey, you can start planning. And finally, increase your learning ability. Of course, some of the things we are going to learn today borders on that. What else do I have? 5 laws of gold. Number 1, multiplying money. Gold comes to consistent savers. Now, gold here he implied long-term assets, because then they save their money in gold. And even presently, you can actually save your money in gold. So gold comes to consistent savers. Gold works for wise owners. Gold clings to cautious investors. I've already warned us about speculative investments, scam, and all of those kind of 419 schemes. Gold clings to speculate, cautious investors. Gold avoids the inexperienced, the uneducated, the inexperienced, the unwise one. Gold avoids them. It stays away from them. Gold flees from get rich quick schemes. I can't say this enough. Maybe I'm just personally adverse to get rich quick schemes. So, but I've seen people fall for it again and again. So that's why I'm mentioning. Now, let's look at key financial things. Delayed gratification. Your first 1 million is not for flexing. When that 1 million multiplies, then you can flex. Discipline over desire. It's not everything that crosses your front that must be purchased, whether it's a shirt or a car or ice cream. No, discipline over desire for this. Long-term thinking. It's not just about today, the first year. You should be thinking 5 years, 10 years in advance. Financial education. I believe that's why you are in this class today. For those of us that are in the first class that are here, I deeply appreciate you. Financial education. What I thought, why this whole thing came up was, I really do want to make money in 2026. But what do I know about money? So while I'm learning, I just say, okay, we could actually learn as a community, because the more we know, the more we will earn. Financial education is important. Then personal responsibility. I was saying to somebody yesterday who was telling me a story of somebody accusing his wife of being the witch that has messed up all his contracts. His story was that every time I tell my wife I'm about to get a contract, the contract fails. But if I don't tell her the contract succeeds, I say, no. You are giving too much power over your life to somebody else, thinking one witch is disturbing you. Take personal responsibility for where you are financially. It's not the government, it's not your neighbor, it's not the economy. You must take responsibility for your personal finance. Now, let me quickly touch through this 3-code framework that you're going to hear on the money code again and again. Pillar number 1, making money. That is where it starts from. If I start telling you about investment and all you have in your pocket is 10,000, what kind of investment can you make? But if you have made ₦1 million, 2 million, 10 million, and 100 million, then you can think of taking 10%, which is 10 million of 100 million, and talk of investment. So number 1 is making money. Increase your ability to earn. If you understand Nigeria, if you were earning 100,000 5 years ago, and you are still earning 100,000 today, you are in serious disadvantage. Increase your ability to earn. 2, and you do that by investing in skills and competence. Whether it's AI you are learning now or how to practice your craft better, whatever you are doing, increase in skill and competence. That means go to school if you have to. Take a course if you have to. Be an apprentice if you have to, but increase in skill. Value creation determines income level. How much value do you bring to the table? There's a reason why the driver earns 100 and it's 100,000 naira, and the CEO earns 100 million naira. How many people can drive a car? Even the CEO can drive a car, but the driver cannot do the work of the CEO. So what value do you bring determines your income level. It's that simple. Except you are an armed robber, a kidnapper, or a 419 who can make money for bringing pain. But if you want to make money legit, it's a question of how much value are you bringing to the table. Personal growth precedes income growth. We are talking about making money. You want to make more money, then you must grow. What we learned in Module 1 was that your money follows your mindset, your framework, and who you are. So the more you grow, the more you make money. And that's why we have the growth cycle. Because the growth cycle, I could call it the money cycle. Of course, we will focus on making money, but we make money by growing. Number 2, managing money. I've talked about pay yourself first. Control lifestyle inflation. What is lifestyle inflation? If you were earning 100,000 or let me say 500,000 last year and you were surviving, suddenly you are earning ₦1 million and you are just still surviving. You haven't done anything to increase your savings, so your lifestyle has inflated. Instead of spending the 500,000 you were earning last year and saving something from the extra 500, you increase your expenditure. Suddenly, you must eat this, you must go here, you must buy this shirt, That's lifestyle inflation. As your money increases, your lifestyle, you suddenly inflate what you are spending. Structured spending decisions. Chidi covered this a lot. He covered budgeting. It actually showed us a tool for budgeting. Discipline determines financial stability. I'm sure we'll touch some of this. And then finally, I want to just talk about multiplying money. Because like I said, you must use leverage. Ebuka will deal with this extensively, so I'm not going to take your time here. Invest with wisdom and patience. No get-rich-quick scheme. Avoid emotional financial decision. Oh, I feel like, no, it must be sound. Let money work over time. You cannot work all your life for money. No. At a point in time, the reason why you start working for money is to get enough money so that money starts working for you. Long-term thinking builds wealth. Now, let me wrap up this. Why this book still matters today? Lack of structure causes financial stress. If you don't have a structure, a budget, a spending pattern, a saving pattern, it will lead to financial stress. Principles remain relevant across generations. I'll give you one example. We always talk about gravity. In 1926, when this book was written, the same financial principles that were working there, just like gravity, are still working on. Any money, saving money, investing money is the same principle. From one generation to another, from one country to another, the same principle. But the application may be different. Now we are talking crypto, we are talking of digital currency. Then we are talking of physical gold and physical currency, but the principles are the same. Now let me close by showing us this wealth equation. I've already said that income alone does not create wealth. So let me show you one wealth equation that I would like you to remember again and again and again. Discipline plus structure plus time creates wealth. I need you to remember that. Somebody please help me put that in the chat room. Let me be sure that somebody is listening to me. Discipline plus structure plus time creates wealth. You want to do it in 1 week, get rich quick scheme? I've already told you 1,000 times, no. It has to be on the foundation of discipline. Discipline in learning, discipline in investing, discipline in making money, discipline in saving. Structure. There should be a plan to your money life. And then finally, understand that building wealth will take time. It will take time. One of the statements from Warren Buffett that I remembered yesterday was, he said that one of the things he's seen about people, they don't want to get rich slowly. When you get rich slowly, your wealth is sustainable. But most people who go for get rich quick scheme, even if they get the money, it is not sustainable. I think that has been our reflections on the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Like I advised you, pick it up and read it. Pick it up and read it. It's quite a nice book. It's only 162 pages. So if you read 10 pages a day, in 16 days, you will finish it. So we picked it for a month. So even if you missed a couple of days, just 10 pages a day, that's 30 minutes of reading, you will still finish the book. And it's quite an interesting book to read. So some thoughts that you should think while you go through. Am I paying myself first? You earn $1 million. Are you putting something away for you? Am I managing or consuming my income? There's a difference between managing something and consuming it. If you manage it, it multiplies. If you consume it, it is gone. Am I investing in assets or liabilities? A better phone, is it an asset or a liability? Can your present phone do what that other phone will do, apart from take more pictures? Is it an asset or a liability? You must ask yourself question. Now, we have 3 codes of the money code pillars, 3 of them. Now you ask yourself, which of them do I need to strengthen? Making money, managing it, or multiplying it? Depending on where you are on your money journey, you should be working on one of them. So if you earned, let's say 20 million last year and you can't see any of it, it means earning is not your problem. Managing is your problem. If you saved 20 million last year and you invested it in the wrong scheme, it means that earning is not your problem. Managing it is not your problem. It means that it's multiplying, which is investing. That's your problem. So which of them do you need to strengthen? I think, okay, that is the end of our book review. I believe Ebuka is in the house. Let me scroll down and see. Yes, Ebuka is in the house. So it's my pleasure to bring Ebuka. Ebuka is a personal friend. He's been a personal friend for quite a number of years, and we've done a couple of things together. And he's a speaker, he's a trainer, he's an actor, and he's somebody you enjoy listening to. The thing with listening to Ebuka is he's such a great speaker and storyteller that you listen to him, time seems to fade away because he tells you great stories. And he's also an author. The Smart Hustler Playbook, I've gone through that, and it's such a powerful book, small book, but powerful. So it's my pleasure to bring him. And I must say, I've been blessed to have some certain people in my corner, as it were. And the pleasure of having them speak to us on this group it has been amazing. Can you speak to us? And they all tell me yes. And these are paid international speakers, and they are speaking to us. So please, with all the emojis you can muster, let's make welcome Ebuka Anichebe. Now I'm going to turn off my video, and also I'm going to turn off my sharing, and then I'm going to hand over this section to Ebuka so that he can take it from here. So Ebuka, if you're in the house, please say hello. Let me be sure that you are taking over from me.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Okay. Can we hear Ebuka?
Good morning, everyone.
So I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to stop sharing so that you can take over. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you for that wonderful book review. It was quite all-encompassing. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ebuka, and it's a pleasure to be here on The Money Code. I'm going to be sharing with you what I would say are some of the things I've learned along the way. But before I do that, I just think it's right because I'm in front of people that, as maybe most people will know me. Let me introduce to you who I am and what I do, so that you decide whether or not the ideas I'm going to share with you is worth it. I'm an entrepreneur in the very sense of it. I'm involved in different business interests. Primarily, my talent is speaking. So I do a lot of public speaking, like my brother Kenneth Ogbebor. I do a lot of public speaking. I do trainings. So, and this is central to what we're going to learn. I learned early on that I could speak, and so I fine-tuned that speaking into learning how to do sales, into learning how to do presentation, into learning how to do negotiations. I actually went to classes for this, and so that puts me in a position to leverage my skills to increase my income. So previously, when I had finished as a copper, I started working in a consulting firm because I knew what I wanted to do in the future. So I was working for free in a consulting firm as a copper. Of course, you work for free as a copper. Well, after that, I went to another consulting firm where I was able to leverage knowledge from one consulting firm and started earning $1,000 back in 2008. And that lasted for about 3 years until I wanted to do my own thing. And the reason I'm sharing with you this journey is because we're going to come into some of the principles behind this later today. I started doing consulting, worked out with my friends, started getting into different projects and organizations. And then I realized, oh, wait, I'm making a lot of friends by doing this and meeting contacts. How can I leverage those contacts into something else? So I mobilized those contacts and opened a different company for real estate and started selling properties and started getting commissions from properties. Okay. And so now you get 2 sources of income. From there, I decided, okay, what else can we do? And so I mobilized a different crowd of those people that know you already. So social capital again, that knew me already, into doing a couple of other businesses, agricultural businesses. I opened I'm a co-founder of a company called Eco Region, which in recent times has raised over 3 billion naira It's a 3-year company. You may or may not have heard about it, but it's a fast-growing concern, which is a partnership. And again, it's a company that grew on the back of social capital. Now, why am I sharing all of this? Is so that you can understand that the money code really is a function of, is biblical, is as old as time itself. The use practice what we're about to learn this morning. And to the extent to which you can sit down and really understand your money map and know, okay, what can I first leverage so that I can increase my income? What must I go and learn? What courses must I attend so that I can increase my knowledge base? And then from my knowledge base, I can increase my income. The reality is there's a lot of money out there. It's just some people know where to look, some people don't know where to look. Some people learn the wrong skills and are applying it in the wrong environment. And for me as a coach, I think what stands me is my ability to look at the person's situation and say, okay, if you do this and do this and do this, you'll get success. And I'm happy to say, like, for my friends, I have a close circle of friends, but for my friends, they started making a lot of money since our friendship started. Why? Because I'm able to, over a bottle of beer, I'll tell them, okay, if you realize if you do this and do this and do this, and then they try, they apply it, and it works. It usually works. Why? Because there's a money code. There's a money code. Well, beyond you just being able to, I can maybe guide you on how to make more money, right? But true wealth goes beyond your ability to earn more. True wealth is now about mastering your own emotional well-being, not to basically earn money and then go and buy a Mercedes Benz. And I don't have a Mercedes Benz. No offense against anybody that has a Mercedes Benz. That's fine. It's a fine car, right? But every time I had money in my bank account to buy a Mercedes Benz, the opportunity cost will be the land in Kiami or in Kubwa that I can buy, that I know without a doubt that with all the improvement that Wiki is doing, you can, make ×5 of that in another 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. And that's in the driving force of how a lot of wealth is created in Nigeria. According to new research that came out last week, it says that in Nigeria, in Africa, not just Nigeria, in Africa, 85% of wealth is held through real estate. So that leaves 20% for people that are investing in the stock market, people that are investing in debt and bonds, and every other kind of investment. And so I would like to talk about not just real estate, but a diverse couple of options that are open to people that want to survive, not just survive, but thrive in a place like Nigeria, right? With all its insecurity and all its problems. Let me say this. We would make sense if you first realize that wealth is a function of emotional intelligence. It's your ability not to do what every other person is doing. It's your ability not to believe your own story that you used to deceive yourself and tell yourself things like, oh, I need to buy a certain car because it's to make me look good and to bring me more contracts, right? Or I need to live in a certain place. Or I need to go out in every night to meet a certain crowd and pay, right? So I can make more contracts. It works for some people, but for some other people, it could be disastrous. So don't copy somebody else's strategy blindly, especially if it's not good for you. Okay? Just don't. Like, wealth is your ability to say no. Wealth is your ability to say no to basically going on a holiday trip with your friends when you know you can use that money and leverage a position that gives you power. You can use that money and partner with a young startup company that gives you controlling shares. Wealth is your ability to deny yourself of quick, early gratification. That's really what builds wealth. You don't have to become Bill Gates. It's compounding small decisions of, rather than me going to, let's say, for example, simple decision. I'll give you a personal example. A friend of mine has a nice enough hustle, does real estate as well. but on the other side, he has a dry cleaning company. So he sells the property, gets a nice commission. And he said to me, oh, he wants to buy a car. And I said, why do you want to buy a car? He says, well, just to fine-tune the hustle. I said, what do you mean fine-tune the hustle? Right? Why don't you invest? You've been doing real estate as an agent for a while. Why don't you invest in something else? Right? He says, like, well, I said, like rent an apartment, do Airbnb. He says, yeah. And he does the math. He sits down, he does the math. He came to my house yesterday with a bottle of wine, and he was like, oh, thank you for that advice, so that somebody else paid for his Airbnb for 3 months. Like that can already produce another car. And I'm like, that's what you get when you delay gratification. It puts you in a position to think clearly. So wealth is actually a function of that. But there's income, your ability to raise your income, and then there's wealth, your ability to grow wealth. And so we have to talk about both of them. But I find that most people that have this are usually people that are leveraging on their natural abilities or their talents or their gifts. They find it easy for them to simultaneously increase their income, right? As well as find ways to store and preserve that income, right? Because finally, you don't just want to be making money and spending money, making money and spending money. Income is a tool, wealth, right? It's in itself is not success. I know people that earn $5,000 that are still in debt. They earn $5,000 every month, they're still in debt. Why? Because somehow there's something called in project management scope creep. Kenneth will know very much about that. Scope creep is when your project goes larger than what you intended. It's also in your lifestyle. In your lifestyle, you have lifestyle creeping. Lifestyle starts to creep in, just move in good neighborhoods. And then once you go in good neighborhoods, you need to update your car. And you update your car, and now, of course, you can't wear the same old clothes. So you now need to buy new clothes. Then you buy new clothes, and of course, I mean, you have to start hanging out with new friends because you're looking new places. You can't go to your old places anymore. You start going to new places, you start getting new bills. Behavior matters more than knowledge. Let me repeat that. Behavior matters more than knowledge. So you have to realize it. Most times you're the one sabotaging yourself when you say you don't have money, but the first time you have money, you run out to buy something fancy, right? You're always quick to gratify yourself. You're quick to do something. Look, wealth, if you can store money, you can leverage that money. You can take advantage of opportunities, distress sales, right? You can go on thrift stores. You can go into your big garage and look for good deals to buy and flip over on your WhatsApp channel. You can hustle. But first of all, you need physical cash. And for you to get physical cash, you need knowledge. So it's a growth. Knowledge will start with you looking at your situation and looking at your abilities and asking yourself, is this the best I can do? For some of us here, you may have talents that are wasting away simply because maybe you haven't worked out on some of the things that hold you back. Maybe you're shy to go on camera and speak to people. Maybe you should be a coach. Maybe you should be teaching people in America on project management, and they are paying you $2,000 a month to teach them, right? But because you're shy on being on camera, you deny yourself of that opportunity. So wealth really would challenge you to work on yourself first. And you must come to self-knowledge, and that's where this whole starts. Okay? Behavior matters more than knowledge. Okay. After your knowledge, you move to your behavior. How am I using what are the things that I'm doing that makes me lose money? And even me speaking to you, I know some of the things that I still do, like I eat out every day, right? But I can afford to eat out every day because I'm a high income earner. But I know that if I could remove that component from my life and do more cooking at home, I can save. I've done the math. I can save potentially money that, when compounded, right, can be serious money in 3 years' time. And so you must always think of money in the long run and ask yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy life. I mean, I like to enjoy life, so I guess that's something. But for that, I give up on many other things I should be doing. I deny myself that need to, oh, thank God it's Friday and go and spend money in a place for no reason and buy things that's times five. I stopped doing that. No problem against people that do that. I used to own a club once upon a time, but I just won't do that anymore because I realized how silly that 2-hour ego trip can cost you over time if you continue to do this for 52 Fridays in a year. So I just don't do ego things like that anymore. So yes, this is what I do. So right now I can tell you comfortably, I have, give or take, a very healthy stream of income, maybe five, right? From real estate, from fumigation jobs, from my speaking engagements and trainings, from my Airbnbs, and then from just about every other hustle I can get. I mean, everything that's legitimate I will do that gets a commission. So, but these are my five streams of income. It's not up to seven, like the richest man in Babylon, but it's beyond. It's just been an income stream. It's where you put in your money. So we'll talk about this in two parts, right? Where you making money, how can you make money? And then where you put in your money, how can you convert this thing called talent into income? All right. How can you convert your talent into an invoice? How can you charge somebody for your talents? How can your talents could be everything. It could be your ability to come into a space and know how interior design should be, and you're able to not just tell somebody, oh, I think you should do this, do this, do this. No, you tell them and they're able to pay you. And it's a skill, being able to show value without giving value away, right? And then they're able to say, okay, can you do this? Come and do it for me now, and they pay you. So that's something that most creative people need to learn how to do. So some of the things we learn, wealth is not really about intelligence, okay? Wealth is really about your behavior. Some intelligent people, professors end up broke, right? And then people that are market women end up rich. What's happened is the behavior, right? The market woman can act like she's broke, meanwhile she's making a healthy profit every day, but still wears the same wrapper, right? Professor, every time he has an income jump, so does his lifestyle jump. And so he'll end up broke. So those are two different things you need to learn. It's not just about how much money you're getting, it's how much are you keeping, right? Poor decisions will destroy your high income, right? You take up a new habit of going out every Friday, of doing some expensive drug, cocaine, what have you, right? It will destroy your income. Trust me. So average income, but the right behavior can create lasting wealth. Knowing where to invest your money, how to pack your money, how to do land banking. That is what the core philosophy of what we're going to be discussing. Okay, money should be logical. Money should be logical. Okay, but people take money decisions through emotional means, right? And they see money through their personal means, but money itself likes certain behaviors, and we're going to learn about those behaviors. Okay. So let's talk about your income. How do you increase your income? High income is, I mean, if there's anything that we've learned in the last 2 years, just 2 years, is a high income is temporary and fragile. Let me tell you what I mean by this. Just 2 years ago, it used to be the case that people that were software engineers, people that could write code, they used to have jobs being thrown at them. Some people had 4 jobs, right? Money thrown at them from every corner. Why? Because they had a high income skill. But now with the advent of AI, boom, more than half of them have lost their jobs. They've been replaced by code, by a computer, right? That can work faster, better, untiring, more perfect, more accurate than they can, right? So now everybody is vibe coding. Things that used to take coders in India 4 months to do, now you can do it in your bedroom in what, a few couple of hours and it's on prompt, right? So that is a new skill that is coming. If you want to increase your income, you can quickly go and learn a new skill like vibe coding. And that's where that's where the world is moving to, right? If you just hearing about vibe coding for the first time, Google it, go learn about it. But that's a high income skill. You get high income from new knowledge, right? Or deep knowledge, new knowledge, deep knowledge. If you're really good at doing something, whether it's POP, whether it's styling, something even basic, but you're really good at it, you can charge 50% higher than other people simply because you're really good at design. I mean, you have the proof, the evidence to show it. If you're really good as a speaker, people are willing to pay you times 10 what they're willing to pay somebody else. If you're really good as a musician, they're willing to pay you times 100 what they're willing to pay a musician that is not popular. So it's just really about how the leverage you can use on your social capital, on your natural abilities, and how you can propel that forward. Well, why do you want high income? Because income fuels options. The more income you have, the more options you have, right? But it doesn't guarantee your wealth, but it just gives you options. Options of where to live, what school your kids should go to, right? That's really what a high income can help you do, right? Unfortunately, here in Abuja, I live in Abuja, but my family is in Kenya. So I look at people, I've had the opportunity to look at our behaviors in West Africa and then East Africa and see the differences in behaviors in terms of our spending patterns, right? People are how they spend. So here in Abuja, you realize that high earners live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because most times they're working in a nice company where they can afford to, their accounts are domiciled with one bank. They can afford to collect loans from that bank because the bank can extrapolate how much you're going to earn as employees in this company. So they go out there, they buy a nice BMW car, right? They splurge on that. Now that one is not that's income is coming out from their paycheck, right? They go, they get another loan to get a nice house. They don't get the house because the house that they can afford them is going to be too outside of town. So instead of buying the house, they use that money for something else. And all kinds of crazy things. So social pressure is just driving spending. Social pressure to just hang out with the bourgeois, to go to New Yorkers. That's what drives spending. And that lifestyle inflation can just completely erode any income gain you could have, regardless of which agency you have, right? So it's not about, I mean, I've seen people, I know personally cousins that have earned unearned income, just basically somebody dies, they open a will, your name is on the will, you're a trustee on a massive estate, and you're like, wow, this guy is set for life. Well, no. If you're not set for life until you can master and control yourself. I've seen people born through inheritances, born through it in 5 years. Something people would say, oh, you're set for life. In 5 years, they've sniffed it. It's crazy, right? But lifestyle inflation, it can completely erode anything you can think of. So true wealth is your ability to say no. That's basically what wealth is. Your ability to say no, your ability to say no to your wife when she tells you, oh, I think we should change the sofa, but you know you're saving money to do a particular thing. Your ability to say no and say, no, we can use the sofa for another one year, right? We can use the sofa for another 2 years. Your ability to say no to say, oh, we need to update our car. No, let's use the same car, right? Let's go spray it instead. That's true wealth. That's where, because wealth is not what is seen. Wealth is what is unseen. Let me repeat this again. Wealth is not what you see with your eyes. What is wealth? What you don't see, right? Nobody walks around with their CFO on their chest. See, I've land in this place and I've land in this place. No, but you see the guy is looking simple, but he has assets that can generate assets. He has a farm somewhere that is generating assets. You may not see the bands, you may not see that, but wealth is invisible. It's not the flashy car. The flashy car tells you that this person had a high income and used this to buy this, but that's about where it stops, right? So wealth is also your ability to take back control of your time. Take back control of your time. Why? Because your time is all you're going to be working with when you're older, right? Not your muscle, right? It's your time. And so if you're able to travel when you need to travel, you have control of your time. You're able to travel and business still goes. You can be out of the country for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? And your assets are generating, then that's security in any time of the day. And so this creates a buffer against shocks. You have the kind of natural shock absorber. That's what wealth creates when you have a 3 year savings in treasury bills, a 3 year savings in long-term assets, crypto assets. You've staked it something on Ethereum, on Bitcoin, and you're able to think clearly because now it gives you options of, oh, where can I go to? And you don't interrupt that savings for no reason, okay? But it requires self-discipline. So it's not really simple because so much of the world is screaming for your attention. To buy that nice jewelry, to buy that nice assurity, to show up, to turn up. Wealth is your ability to say no. That's really what wealth, that's how wealth is created, right? So you being rich is visible. Yes, is your visible income, it's your expensive lifestyle, the ability to spray money when you go to your friend's wedding. But those are short term, it's fragile, it's egotistical. True wealth is quiet. Is your ability to realize that you don't have to flash money, you know, to enjoy life, right? And you maintain a simple, flexible life. You can afford the things you need, right? And you're putting money in for the future. Now people say, well, the future may not come. Well, what if it comes? What if you have a long life and you have nothing saved for it? And now that half of the class are probably not in jobs, but are self-employed, then you have no pension, right? So it's now your ability to have assets that can create wealth for you, right? That's what's going to lead you in the long run. So how do you create wealth if you don't have money currently? I'll give you a couple of ideas, okay? Nobody's born rich. Well, some people are born rich, sorry. But I was born from, well, I would say above average family, above average family. But by the time my dad died and I moved to Abuja, what I really had was skills, right? And I was young, so I had time on my hands. And so I realized I could, on using social media, you could build a reputation. And so I built a reputation, people could trust the reputation. And then using that reputation, I was able to get into new networks. And using those new networks, I was able to generate depth. And I could then use that depth to tap into opportunities that can generate income. And so you see, that's the chain, right? Use your time wisely to build skills, use your skills and get a reputation for being able to get a job done using those skills. That will lead you into nice places in front of kings, and you tap into new networks. And then using that networks, you're able to leverage depth because people with money always looking for opportunities. Because money gets boring. Like you want to, if you have money and you just have all your money in treasury bills as a big man, you have nothing to talk about. It's boring. But when you have money, well, I'm telling you, this is how what I call them big men think, right? They sometimes they just invest in your idea just so they have something to talk about. They invest in your idea so they have something interesting to talk about in their next dinner party. And so you want to be in those rooms where you can pitch your idea and they say, okay, what else sounds interesting? What are you looking at? And you can talk about your financial projections intelligently because you've read, because you increase your knowledge base, right? You can talk about your financial projections, talk about what you've done. And they ask you questions, you answer. They invest in your business. Why? So just because, right? This is revenue that they've gotten, and they can lodge and talk about it in the next dinner party that they have interest in this restaurant, or they have interest in this farmland, they have interest in this ongoing hotel complex, right? And it makes them look interesting and it makes them look smart. And that's something you need to, but you can't go there unproven. You can't walk into some rooms unproven. And so you have to use your time to generate skills and realize everywhere you go, you're going to have a reputation. Your reputation will go before you. So your job is to constantly be building your skills and doing good at your job, damn good at your job every given time, so that you have a good reputation. That's really how it goes. You have to maintain your reputation. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm going to stop just quickly. I want the audience, participants, we have 19 of us. If this is making sense, I want you to go into the chat room, just write something, put a sticker up there so that I know I'm making sense because I've been talking for. Okay, I see thumbs up. Thank you. Excellent. I like that. I just want some feedback. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to. I'm sharing this. I usually don't talk about myself. And what I do or what I'm completely happy to remain anonymous, right? In terms of what I do, just because I don't sit in, I'm very private. I stay at home most of the time. I allow my team work. I do most of my business on phone, Zoom. I'm at home, maybe except I need to go out on a property inspection. But most of my staff, they will also work remotely. And that's how I like it. I like to work with smart people. I like to collaborate with smart people. Kenneth knows how we work as well. Myself and Kenneth have been sharing money since money was made. We just like we get along so well. We don't when the phone rings, I know he's bringing an opportunity. When his phone rings, he knows I'm bringing an opportunity. It's just how we roll, and there's trust, that this person can deliver. And so once you build that kind of trust, regardless of where you are, it will follow you regardless of where you are, he'll follow you. I was in Kenya over the Christmas, and then I was looking for money to come back. I was like, oh, will I get money to come back? And then the phone rings and somebody says, oh, they have a training program in Kenya. Can I handle it? So of course I can handle it. So I mean, it was supposed to be one training program. It goes really well. They bring two more training programs, and so I was like, my wife was like, even here you're making money. I like, well, it's the skill. You don't drop the skills at home. It goes with you. So why not? So I'm really going to urge you, for you to grow wealth, you need to grow your knowledge. I want you to challenge yourself this year to learn something new, learn something useful, um, learn something creative, learn vibe coding, learn how to you learn AI prompting, learn on there's something new that is rave in learn project management. Kenneth teaches on project management. When you learn project management, realize that there are people overseas that are online. You can find them on Twitter, you can find them on TikTok. Advertise yourself to them that you can teach them project management. People charge $2,000, charge $1,000 because $1,000 to use is 1.3 million naira, right? And it's just 4 weekends, and you're making 1.3 million naira. Nobody in Nigeria is going to pay you that, but people overseas are paying people. So maybe you have to learn how to switch your phonetics to make your accents much more approachable. But hey, there are things out there that you can new skills you must be learning. This is when people say, okay, if I'm able to do all of this stuff, I tell you, I learn, I learn every year. I'm learning something new. Every year I'm learning something new. I'm learning something new. I do a lot. I mean, I write. I have a podcast studio. Okay, I didn't mention that before. I have a cartoon media chorus. I do an express. I learn and express. I do this because I know that that's where the world is going to. Guys, robots are coming. Robots are coming. Artificial intelligence robots that will be able to do everything. They'll be able to do oha soup. They'll be able to do mathematics. They'll be able to be gym instructors. They'll be. At least Elon Musk is closing down his car factories and replacing them with factories for robots. You think he doesn't mean it? It's coming. And so if you're in a very precarious position, if the only thing you can do right now is one thing that a robot can do, no now. No now. You have to be as layered as a wedding cake. It has to be like as diverse as this hot lab ice cream, right? Domino's ice cream, different flavors. You have to have different things. Somebody says, can they put on the roof? Can they put solar on the roof? Of course they can put solar on the roof. Of course. Of course, we climb. Have you seen the robots? Go later after this, not now. Later on, go on YouTube and look at Elon Musk Tesla robots, right? And you see videos of what those robots look like and what they can do. And they're going to keep getting better because the thing about robots is this: the moment somebody in Japan teaches their robots how to do something, whether it's a bomb, right? As soon as the places enter, all the robots on that network are able to do that, right? So if you tell it, say, do this, it can do it because one robot in 10,000 miles away has learned it. So it's an existential threat for you to only do one thing. You want to be able to do multiple things. And also while you're doing this, grow your emotional intelligence because the robots will never be as emotional intelligent as you. So your sense of humor, they won't never have sense of humor. They won't be able to crack jokes like you. Grow your sense of humor, grow your humanity, grow your kindness. You see those, I think in the future, and this is just me, I predict the future sometimes. I'm usually right. Maybe 90% of the times I'm right. Yeah. The other 10% is just because it hasn't yet happened. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that people that will possess the earth are indeed the meek and the humble. People will be looking for people with humanity still in them to, open the door, the front door, not a robot, to greet a cherry face, not a robot's face at hotel receptions, but they'll be looking for the best of the best. They won't just looking for anybody, right? Because now, if anybody can do it, so can a robot. But so they'll be looking for the best humans to occupy certain positions, the kindest hearts, the most helpful person, the most, things that are like virtues, not just skills. Because robots can be programmed to have skills, not virtues. And so that's something that I'm willing to bet will shape the future. It's going to be a different skill set. CVs will be written differently because all the things that we write on our CVs now, robots can do. You can't just go and write fluent in Microsoft Excel and there's no. Robots can do it, prompts can do that. So it has to be something else. People will you have to advertise your personality, but that's something else. I mean, I'm digressing, but it's just something I thought to share from this. Let's go back to how to make money. Okay. You can use debt. Some people use debt. I'm not a big fan of debt, especially if the debt is collateralized, because if you do that and your money, you're not sure of where your income is coming from, it can be tricky. So the only people I say use debt is people that already have a going concern. If you know, okay, I'm already making money from this, it's a short thing, I import cars and then I drop the cars, this is the clearing cost, this is it. And you've been doing it, this is not your first rodeo. Of course, you can borrow money to buy more cars, to fill up a container. Why not? You can do that, right? Because you understand the business. But not when you bring in borrowing money to start a new business, that you don't know how it's going to go. You don't have customers, yes. There's no proven effect. No, please don't do that to yourself. You just hurt yourself, right? And destroy your reputation and credibility for your next up off. So by all means, start slow. Leverage your debt. If anything, get partners than debts. Get a partner. Get a money partner. If you don't have a money partner, it's because you've not been going to the right places. You've not been participating in the right places. Let me put it that way, right? So that because there are people that have money are looking for ideas. That's where I find that's the reality. I find that people that have money are looking for people that have ideas. People that have hotels, big men that are building hotels are looking for the right person that they can trust to run that business like their own and generate profits and not steal from them, and they'll be able to give you 10%, right? But they don't usually find this kind of people that they are honest stewards. That's the frustration I hear from a lot of my friends, right? So you want to learn how to be that person, okay? You want to learn how to be that person. I would talk about debt, but again, banks don't even loan money to small businesses these days. So I won't even waste my breath talking about it. But be careful of how you collect debt from loan sharks with your car and assets. You can easily lose that if it's not a business that you understand. Okay, so reduce your exposure as much as possible. Always reduce minimal debt obligation. Don't expose yourself for no reason, and definitely don't just collect a debt against your house. That's the most stupid thing. No business idea is worth that much that you should create a monthly debt against your house. You can get a mortgage that is less than double digits against your house to fund a business that has already been going and has good potential, but you want to expand on. Why not? But not to take a debt against your living place, because your living place is like 70 to 75% of your net worth if you already have a house. And let me say this now for those of you listening, please, the first lucky break you get when you sell that first thing, you strike that first deal, you close that bracket, and you make money. Once it's over 20 million naira, please just buy a house. I don't care where the house is. Just buy it. Buy a house, buy a flat, buy something, own something. Nothing like a roof over your head. You will need it. You will need it. You never know. It can never waste. To double value in the next 4 years, it has always done. Buy something good. Don't be lured by, oh, you need to buy a nice GL, ML. Yes, you will look good in ML and GL. Whether or not to bring new opportunities, that's questionable. But if what is sure is if you have a place above your head that is yours, it gives you security just waking up as a man knowing that you own your own place, right? And whenever you're tired and you want to leave the country, you can always sell the place and go and buy a second passport, second citizenship, right? Somewhere else, if the value appreciates. But don't hope on that. Wealth grows slowly, and then suddenly the road comes, boom, you're there. So yeah, but time matters. Time matters more than timing. I find time. With time, everything grows. The house I'm staying in right now, this is my house. I've lived here for 13 years. Yeah, this house used to be in the bush. They used to call it bush back then. I'll tell you why. I'm going to show you. Let me do something. I want to show you around. This used to be in a bush. They call it, oh, this was it. How are you building a house in that place? There's nobody there. I say, well, talk. Eventually there'll be somebody there. Now we did the road. There's a road passing just by the house. I don't know, it's beautiful. I wish you could see it. It's beautiful. But it didn't used to be that way. Now, I mean, the value went like ×5. It's so beautiful. I wish I could show you, you know? And now people are rushing the place, and I'm like, this is exactly how wealth works, you know? I remember when one man came to me and said, oh, he'll buy the land for 30 million naira. And I said, no, no, thanks, you know? Now it's way worth like times by a factor of, I don't know, you know, times thousands. So it's just ridiculous what happens. But you have to be patient. We have to be patient. Wealth not this whole stupidity in Nigeria that we're doing now with these Yahoo boys, Okite, and the rest of them, and it's making people go mad. They think that they can just quickly make money. No, you know, because of fraud boys. And everybody wants to have what people in their 50s should be having. They want to have it now in their 20s. No, wealth is compounded. The biggest thing you don't want to compromise is your peace of mind, because that goes with you everywhere. And there's no amount of money that you would have that can compensate sufficiently for your lack of sleep and your absence of peace of mind. So in all you're getting at, I urge you, don't compromise. Don't compromise in order to get into any network. I've been given offers, deals to join certain organizations. I'm not at liberty to even speak about them freely on air because of you know where we are, right? But your ability to realize this will compromise my morals and my standing, peace of mind. You say no, and you continue on your own. Eventually, you'll make it. Eventually, you will. It's inevitable. You know, my heart bleeds for people that don't realize this and they want to jump and cut corners. Time matters more than timing. Okay, everything doesn't have to be now. The opportunity will always be there, right? For you to go to Maldives. Maldives is not closing and down anytime soon. You don't have to go this year. If you don't go this year, you go next year, right? So don't allow people pressure you. Okay. I know I've been speaking a lot. I'm just going to go through some of my notes that I have written down. So yes, we talked about living below your means. Just be patient. Don't use debt unnecessarily if you don't need to. And then don't chase trends. Don't chase trends, right? Avoid, oh, this thing is hot now, you jump in it. Why? Because trends fade. That's why. Trends fade and you don't want your money fading. That's as simple as it is. So if you jump on a trend, oh, this thing is hot now, you want to put all your money in it, it will fade, right? A friend of mine says, oh, he wants to go and invest in solar and bring things from China and come and I'm like, you know how many people are doing solar? You want to carry all your money and put in solar. You're better off looking for 5 people that share your vision, dividing that money and that risk amongst yourself, and then you go into that so that you limit your exposure. Wealth is not so much about how much you make, it's how much you're keeping. Don't lose your capital. Protect your downside, right? So that you're flexible. So if that means you sharing money, so be it, okay? But that's smart thinking, as opposed to you completely exposing yourself to volatility. That's one bad move. Somebody comes there with more containers that he doesn't have to pay, say, for example, custom duties on. Suddenly he floods the market with cheap solar that yours can't sell. You're forced to make concessions that you shouldn't be eaten into your capital. And you borrowed dollars at 1,005, and now dollars has fallen to 1,340. Lost money again. See, it's just excessive debt now chasing you. So you want to realize those are common wealth killers. Your lifestyle inflation will kill you, right? Ego-driven decisions. Okay, you want to be able to drive in, with a nice car. You want to be able to live in a nice neighborhood that you cannot afford. Because now, in Abuja, the rent prices are going crazy. So when I see people insisting that they will stay in a certain neighborhood that I know that they cannot afford, I know that this person is either going to be stealing their employer's money or doing runs or doing something. Because how are you able to? I don't understand. But small girl, big God, who am I to judge? But then you don't want to be using your I don't care how you're making money, but using that money to now just be funding a lifestyle that can be taken away from you. You're staying in a place, a 1 bedroom, and you're paying 6 million naira a year. Sister, you can be living somewhere else, in a nicer, bigger space, and be able to rent out other parts of that space and have a tailoring shop, right? And have something where they are chilling juices that you can sell in your office. There's so much you can do with land. Land is capital. Okay. So excessive debts, you don't want to do that. And then short-term thinking, okay, it has to be now. Tomorrow will take care of itself. That kind of thinking that we have scripted into our culture. Because we've been listening to music, for a long time, and music programs us, right? And the music that we listen to, unfortunately, in Nigeria, I said, well, I like the music. Don't get me wrong. And don't knock about that. I groove. I groove past you. I swear, I groove past you. But sometimes when I'm not grooving, I sit down with myself and I ask myself, what kind of irresponsible music are we even listening to? Take all my money, put out for your waste. Just stupid music. And it's everywhere, but it leads to short-term thinking, right? And that just destroys your ability to make the right choices that can lead to long-term compounding of your money, right? And then just realize you don't want to be comparing yourself to anybody. Your journey is your journey. If you're not, whether they're carrying your kids to Harvard University and you can only afford to send your kids to Unipen, so be it, okay? But everybody's doing what they have to do, sending their kids to school. Someone else's path is not your path. So stop this comparison. Okay? Stop comparison. Stop comparing yourself with other people. Right? Don't let fear ruin you. If you're someone that you like to travel, but yes, your wife is saying, oh, if you're traveling, there's going to be kidnappers on the road and all of this, and but you know that that's you putting that fear in you is keeping you from hustling. Like, do the next best thing, which will be go and take an insurance on yourself. So if the worst should happen, your family is well taken care of. Take 100 million naira insurance on yourself. You're paying something around maybe 1 million naira every year. If the worst should happen, your family gets paid 100 million. So this is how to think about money. It's logical. It's not emotional. But you must be able to use leverage of the financial choices that you have around us. And by all means, what we're talking about is write a will. For those of you that already have some considerable money, write a will. That's one of the best ways to destroy your money is when you die without having a will. And nowadays, people are dying every day. So you might as well, don't say always, oh, God forbid. Don't be emotional about money. Money is logical. If you don't write a will, people will argue about the money. Before you know, they will go to court, they will estimate the money, lawyers will chop your money. So write a will. Okay, write a will. Let it be clear. Let them know that you have a will. This is the lawyer that has the will. You don't have to know about the will, but they know who the lawyer is. Anything should happen to you. People are very clear about what exactly your property should be given to. Everything is an asset. So don't say how many assets. If you have artwork, it's an asset. Yes, and your two-bedroom apartment you have is an asset. Your car is an asset. Your savings accounts that you have with Fidelity Bank or wherever is an asset. Write it down. Write phone numbers of who they're supposed to call, right, to execute that thing that has your password or whatever. But understand that this is how you must plan your life. And by all means, I mean, build skills, join networks, your associations from your secondary school, from your university, join those networks, attend those meetings, right? Your village meetings, go there. Why? Because you're meeting people, right? That's non-financial leverage, but it can be converted to that. Always be growing your social capital. Always, right? As your capital, you're growing that capital, please restrain yourself. Don't be needing to go to meet the tailor every weekend to take new measurements. No, unless maybe you're, in the fashion industry, you really don't need to be showing up like a peacock every time. So that's money that can be used on something else, right? But really understand how to manage your own lifestyle creep, while at the same time working to build your upside, becoming a person of influence by working on your downsides, the things that keep you from making money. And we are aware of what keeps us from making money, right? It could be, for example, I'm going to let me just be vulnerable. I know I should, for example, for the longest time, have a podcast. Like people say, okay, Ebuka, you should have a podcast. I'm just lazy to, or maybe I'm just shy to. So, but I tell myself, Ebuka, if you have a podcast, you probably have the potential of multiplying your income by a factor of 2 or 5 or 10. But you're refusing to. So even as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself, right? So because life is a journey. I'm learning that, okay, what's keeping me from having a podcast? I don't feel too comfortable with popularity. And this is something that has to negotiate, okay, what's making you popular with that? And sometimes you have to negotiate with yourself, because sometimes the people that are keeping us from being rich is ourselves, right? When maybe we're not comfortable being rich for whatever reason. And you have to be honest with yourself. So I'm rounding up, okay? Number one, understand this: income is a tool. It's not success in itself. You have high income, they're paying you well in the bank, paying you 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It can go away. If anything, just learn from what happened to those guys in the United Nations. Trump came, half of UN staff lost their jobs. Half of them lost their jobs. Those guys were in debt already, right? They had borrowed money, done all of these things. But now, one policy, Trump is no longer funding USAID. A lot of people, their nakedness has to show. They have to pull out their kids from the schools that they were going to, because, hey, income is a tool that can afford your lifestyle, but in itself is not success. So it's very fragile. Real wealth is you having freedom. Real wealth is you having freedom of deciding what to do when you wake up on Monday. I feel like going to work. No, why? Because you know that money will still come, regardless of whether you go out today or not. There's money coming from somewhere, an investment you've made once upon a time. And that gives you a certain level of invincibility. You feel untouchable. Okay. If you must borrow money wisely, please. It shouldn't be for a new idea. It should be, if you have a new idea, look for a partner. If you have a business that's already growing, don't need to bring in the partner. Right? No, that's how managing their greed. No, use debts instead and tell them, I'll pay you X amount, and use that debt, but it must be used wisely, knowing what your cash flow is. Okay. Realize that it's not about this knowledge that you have. It's down to your behavior. You can have all the right knowledge, but if you're not behaving in line with the right knowledge, it will not work for you. The principle will not work for you. Just it's really simple as that. Don't get greedy on any opportunity. Don't put in more than you should. There's one opportunity that came up to my knowledge last year. It's called Orum. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's a crypto staking platform, AI robotic trading platform. And it's been quite consistent, but some people put in all their money. They left their job in CBN, all their money that they got from the golden handshake, putting all their money. And I'm like, that's so risky. That's like so risky on every level. Putting a bit of money, yes, it's a good opportunity. You have the potential of making your money back in 7 months, but don't go all in a new opportunity. No, that's just desperation. If it goes crashing down, what happens? So always leave that room for error, right? Room for error in case of incasity. They say in Pidgin, in case of incasity. Just don't put in survival matters more than growth. Okay. Or learn to compound your money. Money, you can always make money, but can you compound money? Where can you put money? Be on the lookout, right? Of where can you put, which business can you go and put money inside, and it can help this person to be helping you compound money, and you're getting continued returns on money that you put once upon a time. Nothing as fascinating as that. That's really what it is. The end goal is for you to build a life where money works for you and not controls you, and not you forever working for money. That is my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you. I'll take questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Ebuka, and of course, Greg. I can see the emojis, and since we are online, I think we can definitely do the emojis, and it's the way the world is right now. So those days we say a round of applause, right? But now we say oh, thumbs up, emojis, of course the hearts. Okay, somebody's falling in love with Ebuka. Oh, that's great. So thank you very much, Ebuka. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experience, even yourself with us. And like I said, I'm a private person. I actually don't share me. He's told us what he does personally, and at this point, the floor is open for questions. You can type your question in the chat room, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Ebuka, I want to ask the first question. You took us on a journey, you didn't take us all the way home. We're comparing lifestyle and financial lifestyle of Nigerians and East Africans. And I was interested in hearing that whole story. So please, you take that, then we can come in with the rest of our questions.
Okay, so for my own observation, um, the East African is very conscious about as quickly as possible, owning a house. And so they are more financially literate to us in terms of the age at which they get into a mortgage, right? The age at which they get into their first mortgage, it's lower. And so that's a set of intelligence. Like how quickly do you wake up, right? They are a lot younger getting into a mortgage than we are. Of course, Americans are even much younger. In their 20s, they get into a mortgage. But in Nigeria, you realize it's still a relatively new form for people to use mortgages to get into it. So people seduce themselves into thinking that they have to have all the money at once, right? And so they say they're saving money. So they want to buy their house at once. They don't want to do this mortgage thing. Or they want to build their house. They don't want to do this mortgage thing. But then at the end of the day, you realize the money that you thought you were saving, if you don't have discipline, the next flashy car that comes out, you want to buy it. The next holiday that comes out, you want to go there. The next World Cup tour that your friends pressurize you and say, oh, we're going for World Cup. Before you know, nobody wants to feel left out. I mean, it's a natural human emotion that you don't want to be left behind. So we spend emotionally, right? And then when it backfires in our face, we cry to God and hope that's kind of they don't think that way. They're more money conscious. The young girls are trying to buy a house as soon as possible. They're trying to do a down payment for a house, right? Where our young girls here are trying to get wigs and no, but it's true. And I tell them like the East African girls are not they don't wear wigs. Maybe that's why it's not a big it's not they wear it, but it's not a big deal for them, right? They're more with their natural braids and such. But so they're just different things. Well, in Nigeria, I see people obsessed with doing their body, spending 5 million naira, 10 million naira on doing their bodies. These people are looking for how to make a down payment on a 2 bedroom or a babysitter that they can turn to an Airbnb that can be bringing in extra income. So you see young girls having 7 Airbnbs because they've been able to get money to pay different rents. It's just a different kind of hustle energy that you don't see. So I guess it's a matter of morals and judgments. But there you go.
Thank you very much. I like that getting into mortgage early. And I'll say this ahead, Ebuka. We need to meet and have a conversation around mortgage from
Yeah,
the
okay.
from the back end. We need to meet. It's some things I've been thinking about. Okay, so if you have questions, type in the comment section, or you can unmute yourself and ask. So while we are kind of gradually winding down, I just will repeat some things he said. But if you have questions, by all means, interrupt me.
Okay, I think mine is more of in support of what he said. Around sometime I had a job and I was quite comfortable with the salary. Suddenly, I woke up one Saturday morning and realized that, oh boy, I've been sacked. And then the day after, I started asking myself questions. What did you do with your money? You know, and I was asking, why were you not able to save? And so when you were talking about people being paid where out of the day you lost your job and then you don't know what you're doing, he spoke a lot to me. Now I got another job and I think I'm now wiser. And all those impulse and emotional buying, oh boy, I have I've thrown those ones aside and focused saving, focused, yes. Oh, yeah, there's what Ken said one time about impulse buying. Yes, and I'm now wiser, like I said, and those impulse buying uh, out of the way for me. Thank you, Ebuka, for reminding me of things I know and things to do.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Somebody on the platform says, please, what platforms are available for making small investments and what kind of investment opportunities can newbies in the investment space start with? I'll put it like this. Your platform, the platforms I use, I will just talk about the ones I use because would be the popular ones you already know, Bamboo, right? Which is what you use for buying stocks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange as well as the US Stock Exchange. And then if you're done buying stocks, of course you can always go on and buy crypto assets like on Binance. You can go on Binance and buy Ethereum and stake the Ethereum and get percentage every month from your staked Ethereum. That's another way to get on board on that. But what I really would like to see, and this is just me being me, I like to see people invest in real everyday world opportunities because I find it's much more durable as opposed to these online out of your control bamboo companies buying stocks in. Whether or not you buy Netflix shares, they will still show movies next month. But there's a farmer down your road that if you invest with that farmer and you give him 400,000 naira, he'll be able to buy seed inputs. He'll be able to buy fertilizer. He's willing to go for the next 3 months to that farm, clearing it of the weed, so that when eventually the corn starts to mature, he's willing to share with you 50-50 or 60-40, 60 for him, 40 for you. But at your 40%, corn now is selling at 500 naira. It can be useful. Are we together? Even if you're selling wholesale, selling at 200 naira, it's useful. You do not mind you how much you spend, but now you get 2 million naira for your 400,000 in 3 months. Those are small investments I will tell you to look out for, right? Small spaces, small investments, but big impacts, big opportunities, right? Partner with those kind of people. Don't only think of, Bamboo and Binance, right? Those are nice and flashy if you have good capital. But if you're a small investor, look for small opportunities. Look for the person that you can partner with that can start buying eggs and selling in front of your school and making a profit and being able to share that with you. Find small businesses that can share with you for a lifetime, right? And that's so durable, so durable.
There are two questions on the chat room, one from Blessing and then an iPhone user, which is better. between mortgages and going to local government in states to buy government-owned land?
Oh, well, I can't say. I don't know. But when you say local governments in states to buy government-owned lands, if you've done your due diligence, but I actually like land banking better. Why? Because it's a one-off, right? It's a one-off. If you have a mortgage, say for example, let's use 5 million naira now. 5 million naira, you can't get you a mortgage, but you can get you some some government-owned lands in some local governments in faraway states. Maybe it works for you. I mean, it really depends on what the intent behind your investment choice is. What's the intent behind it, right? If it's a mortgage and it's a house you're living in, so you're not paying rent, which is an outflow, then by all means get a mortgage. But if you already have a house, I would tell you go for land banking and going to go and buy another house on mortgage every month. You're now, especially if the house is not fully completed. So you're paying the mortgage, but then you have to be completing the house and then you're looking for rent. It can be quite tricky. So it really depends on your financial situation. It's contextual on your financial situation. Somebody says, what's your take on fractional ownership in real estate, agriculture, and what projects are currently open for one to invest in, even with small capital under 500K? Well, 500K won't get you any fractional ownership in real estate market at the moment, right? Because it's just too small. But like I said, in terms of agriculture, yes, there are projects you can look in your area. Otherwise, you may look online. There are some platforms that are still doing this. Where is my phone? I would be able to look at some of the platforms that are quite dependable, right? Piggyvest has those opportunities, but as soon as they come up, people snap them up. So you have to really be tracking them because as soon as they come up, it doesn't last even to 48 hours before all the opportunities. So go on Piggyvest and look at what investment opportunities are open for such capital 500K. They usually come in at 16% ROI per year, right? Looks small, but hey, it's not the size of the money, the ROI that matters, it's the discipline it puts in you and the identity it creates in your mindset that you're now an investor that matters. And once you start to see yourself as an investor, it can shape in every other thing that you do and your money choices. So that's important that you start regardless of how small it is. So somebody says, Chizoba says, on making money, which is the money code I think I need to work on first. You mentioned learning new skills to improve yourself which would improve your earning. So I decide to learn project management. I go ahead and learn it. Then what next? Good. Then you can deploy it in any way you can. If I don't know if you're working, you go to first of all you go to your boss and tell your boss, oh, now I can do project management. Like, give me some new opportunities. Volunteer, show your new skills. Okay, grow some teeth. Not learning it as a theory. Ken here has been a project manager for God knows how long, right? I know he just finished a huge project in Niger State where he was building one of Nigeria's biggest farms. So yes, you update your CV and then go out to your social capital, to your market and say, look, I have the skill sets in case you have something you want me to do. It could be start small. Start small. It could be a wedding. A wedding is a project, right? Okay, you're going to use your new skills to run that. It could be your friend is building a house. You want to use your project management skills, but you start small and then you grow your teeth before you can then volunteer to start teaching people based on what you've learned, right? You can go there so that you have real life experience and they're able to relate with you. So that's how I'll tell you that you should go. When you find a new skill, deploy it as soon as possible in many places so that you generate as many feedback as much as possible. It's not about 10,000 hours, it's about 10,000 trials, right? So use as the faster you are in learning, deploying your skills, the more feedback you can get. And then that's basically what creates a robust experience when you decide to go start to consulting or teaching, and that's useful. Yep.
Okay, Ebuka, There's a question that popped out on the chat earlier, and I think you're the right person to answer. You know, when I was reaching you this morning, I said Ebuka virtually lives on his phone somehow. So somebody asked the question, how do you avoid distraction? And the biggest tool of distraction right now is the phone. You work on your phone. You even said that to us, right? So how do you avoid distraction? Because somebody asked, you need to learn new skills, you need to practice, and all of these other end. But how do you avoid distraction?
Yeah, for me, I find it simple. Just basically control your environment, you control your choices. So my phone is my environment because I prefer working on my phone than using my laptop, right? Um, so I turn off all notifications. All those groups that you belong to, your town group, your family, I archive all those stuff. So there's no notifications. On Instagram, I don't get notifications of people that are in my DMs or anything. I don't get notifications, right? So it's when I choose to go to look at an app, do I have messages? And I choose to go there. It's a choice, it's not a prompt. So nothing prompts me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not on call. Nobody's going to die. I'm not going to save your life. Do you understand? So if you want my attention, call me, but don't just text me and say, sup. Then you're not telling me sup. I will now engage with you. Sup. What are we doing? Oh, no, that's rubbish. Call me. If it's important, if it's business, you call me. But otherwise, keep your sup and your how far and your things to yourself. I just don't have the latitude for that. So just basically realize that you can control your distractions. You can switch off notifications. I have a friend. She would, whenever she has a brief, she will uninstall Instagram from her phone. So she's always uninstalling Instagram and reinstalling it back, uninstalling and reinstalling back. Why? Because she knows she doesn't have the self-control to stop scrolling. So she just uninstalls it. So it's all problem solved. It's not on the phone. She can focus on her work. She finishes the project. She comes back to it. That's her own method. For me, I just turn off notifications. So I wean myself off the need to do that. And people just have to learn what works for them, right? My solution may not work for you, but control your environment. You control your life. Don't just feel like you're helpless. There's distractions, leave that environment. If it's on your phone as a distraction, turn off all notifications, archive some chats, and you just realize that you have less noise. People usually say, oh, they get their best ideas in the shower. You get your best ideas in the shower because you know your phone. Nothing is distracting you. So now it's just you now have time to be with yourself and listen to your thoughts. So create more moments like that by just reducing your distance and then be able to sit down with boredom because ideas come when you're bored. So sit down for those ideas, and you'll be surprised what you have the cure for cancer or something. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm somebody who is still personally working on avoiding distractions, but what I've done in the last 2 years thereabout is I don't have Twitter on my phone. I
Yeah.
don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone. They are not there. They are not installed. And these days, when I really have work to do, I only do Twitter on weekends. So Monday to Friday, I never check Twitter. And do I miss the news? I've realized I don't miss the news. Really, there's nothing happening there. There's an emergency for me, or there's income, or even whatever for me. So I rather listen to a 1 hour Jordan Peterson video than scroll on Instagram for 1 hour and listen to Gigi and Pella and kind of noise. Okay, so thank you very much, Ebuka. And do we have any other question? If we don't have any other question, we can start to wind up. We've already done over an hour, 30 minutes. And Ebuka, thank you very much. You went on for over an hour. And it's been my pleasure hosting everyone who has been with us on this call. Damaris, thank you for joining us again. Oriva, and I saw Ivy Adelekwa. That's our mommy in the house. Thank you for joining us. Of course, my friend Greg, Chizoba, and every other person who has been here. What I do want to say before we close is, if you look in the chat room, there's a WhatsApp link for a WhatsApp group that is dedicated to your growth. Now, it makes it easier for us to communicate and share. And before I let you go, I need to let you know we have a new book for for March, actually. And beside the book for March, we are going to do some money affirmations. Favor Jimmy sent me something this morning. Thank you very much, Favor, for helping us work on that powerful affirmations so that you are surrounding yourself with money conversations, money knowledge, money wisdom, and also people who are growing. Your environment matters. So click the link, join the growth cycle. I'm going to share the book of the month. I'm going to share our monthly affirmations, one for every day in March. And by the way, March is my birthday month, but we all learn across the month. And I'm hoping in the middle of March, we may do a book review. If not, we do a book review at the end of the month. But I'm going to share the book in the growth cycle group. It's all about growth. Whatever you earn will be built on your growth, your personal growth. So it's been my pleasure being your host. My name is still Kenneth Ogbebor, and to your growth, to your success, to your income, and to your wealth. That's what this whole thing is dedicated to. And my pleasure to have hosted Ebuka Anichebe. Our next meeting is coming up on the last Saturday in March. So somebody can look in their calendar and tell me, let me see that. March 28th. Okay, so exactly about 30 days from today. So that's when our next conversation is coming up. So it will be my pleasure to host you once again on the Money Code, and another speaker will be with us. I trust that we will have the speaker who I have in mind for us. It will be amazing. So I'm going to share all of those information in the Money in the growth cycle and through our email. So if you need to get the recording of today's section, join the growth cycle. By tomorrow, I should be able to share this whole recording and then share the book of the month and share the affirmations for the month, one for each day. So we're actually going to share one a day. So please join the growth cycle. Let's become a community of people who are growing, who are increasing, who are getting healthier, who are getting wealthier, who are getting more peaceful because, hey, wealth brings some peace and brings some freedom. So it's been my pleasure being your host. Until we meet again, definitely we'll meet in the group. My name is Kenneth Ogbebor, and thank you all very much for spending your Saturday with me. You know, they say Saturday is for wedding. Maybe you can tell them Saturday is for learning, Saturday is for growing income, Saturday is for growing wealth. So till we meet again, thank you all very much, Damaris, Oriva, Greg, Ivy. I saw Mr. Tunde. I saw what's that? Oh, my friend from Mina. I saw you all. Chizoba. Thank you all very much for coming. So till we meet again, it's been my pleasure being your host here. So I'm going to end. Juliet, of course, that's my own sister. Thank you. Jimmy, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for doing our affirmation. So when you see your affirmations, know that it was Jimmy. David, thank you. Kelsey, you joined us so early. Thank you all very much. So till we meet again, it's been my pleasure. The recording will be available by tomorrow, and I'll post the link in our WhatsApp group. I've got to let you go now. So do all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you, Ebuka. Thank you, everyone. Damaris, thank you. Thank you for being part of this. It's been my pleasure.